Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Please Do Tell podcast. I'm your homegirl, Ronnika, and of course, I am joined by some guy right here named Jeffrey.
Oh man, hey, welcome back. Dude, I'm happy to be here. It's August. It's midsummer. The weather's crazy. Right now, we're in the middle of the 90s. I'm in the middle of a head cold, so I'm kind of all over the place. But grateful to be back here, especially with you.
Likewise, I told him he's going to have to push through like Jordan. Was that a finals?
Yeah, Jordan game 5. Jordan game 5 in 97, 98. We're going to have to do it today because not feeling the greatest, but we're going to do this.
We're going to do this.
Yes.
All right. So today we're marching with our story. So you think about August and some of the events that have happened in August in the past. That's the reason why we've decided to implement that for this episode. But we have so much to talk about, so let's dig in. So summer's almost over, and I'm happy but devastated.
Peeved. I don't even know what happened in summer. It was actually one of my friends here in New York. Used to hang out with him like all the time, and we just caught up like yesterday for the first time. And I saw him. I was like, I haven't seen you this summer. Like summer just went by fast. That was crazy. Yeah, it was like April, May. The last time here was August. Before you knew it. Yeah.
So we're gonna blink and the year is gonna be over. But let's not rush it just yet because we have to get through this episode. Of course. Hello. So you all have been rocking with us. We've done the anniversary episode. We've launched we're into Black August. So you all, we don't want to keep this intro long because like I said, we got a lot to chit chat about.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's dig in. So let's start this segment with what they didn't teach us. It's so much. It's so much. So I know it's like who's they? My one of my bosses, and then if your parents used to be like, well, who is they? You ain't want to tell on nobody, but who is that? Who is that? But we're gonna share some stories about some moments in history and how it's impacted us, and we'll kind of dive into like documentaries, podcasts, and stuff like that. But Jeffrey, did you want to kick this segment off?
Sure. I know not last episode. The last episode, it was our anniversary episode, but I know we talked a little bit, dove in a little bit about Black August, kind of give a little synopsis. Just in American history, when it comes to Black folks, a lot has happened during the month of August. I mean, we talked about it. I will refer you back to 2 episodes, because we don't want to lose any time today. So back to 2 episodes. But just some of the history, like we said, Barack Obama being inaugurated, the Red Summer of 1949, it's just a lot of cultural things that have happened for Black people here in America. But what I do want to do is, because it is Black August, and this is 2025, I just mentioned 1949, I threw out 2008, just dates really fast, but this is, I guess, our Black August of 2025. And then just taking it into consideration, I looked at it like from 2 different standpoints, from an internal and an external. Internally, as we mentioned, I'm not feeling well. But, because to not feel well in the summer is crazy.
Oh my gosh, it's the pits.
Jeez. It's
horrible.
It's jeez, But as Maya Angelou would say, still I rise. You know what I'm saying? So from that standpoint, let's transition to an external. But externally, what I'm seeing from my perspective, when it comes to Black culture, I'm seeing an erasure of Black culture happening before my eyes. Someone that's done a lot of research when it comes to Blacks in America, and then getting the opportunity to go to the African American Museum, last month in
We
DC.
didn't talk about that either, but let's
Yeah,
go.
we didn't even dive into it. Yep. As our listeners, we do travel. We do go on the road together. We had an opportunity where we went to the Black History Museum, the African American Cultural Museum in Washington, D.C. If you got 4 hours of your time, spend it. It is worth every minute before they change it in the current president's vision. So, it's a lot. It's a lot to. I think we got there like 2:00.
Yeah.
By 5:00, it closed at 5, but I wasn't done. You know what I'm saying? Like it was one of those. Like it's a lot to ascertain. It's a lot to take in. So just externally, when it comes to Black August, I was fulfilled to see because I learned a lot. As in, even looking at it from a historical standpoint, from a documentary standpoint, or just listening to scholars, basically it came down to what? Sugar. A commodity.
Yes.
Slavery is here because of sugar. You know what I'm saying? Because it was more important. And obviously we're seeing it now. If you look at it from the context of our economy, where tariffs, where it supersedes homelessness at this point. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, that's how I feel. How do you feel?
I think when I think of August, of course, I also think about like President Barack Obama's birthday being August 4th. But thinking about this month will be 62 years since the March on Washington.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just seeing just everything that's changing just in our lifetime, it's like, was this the ancestors' wildest dreams? Because I don't know.
Well, I think that it was their goal, and again, opinion. I think their goal was to inform, and when you inform, you know how to move better. And so I think that we're moving towards we've been dramatically shifted towards an uninformed culture since the 80s, 90s, because that's one of the things I'm going to talk about a little bit later too, because we were talking about it in pre-production. But we've moved into where their cultural standing, your own personal cultural standing, is superseded by the American standard. And then the American standard is a melting pot. So then as a person that non-European would want to say to themselves, like, well, what is that culture? Because the non-whites, they have a culture. I don't care what community you go into. Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Belize. Every country has their own culture, and then when you come here, it's a great melting pot. So it sounds like a big mixture. So what is the culture? And I think that kind of pushes up against all of the non-white Americans that are here, because we know that there is a culture, whether it's from the music or the food or the traditions. A lot of us, the American tradition is what, the Super Bowl. Let's really dig deep into that. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that I'm a football fan. Shout out to the 49ers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a football fan. But look, you already know the 49ers is going to show up. I told you.
I should have known.
It's football season. It's preseason.
I know. It's like, so just be prepared to not hear from Jeffrey on a Sunday.
1-11. 1-11. Sundays, boy. Unless you want to talk football.
Or I'm going to say, or it's better to just be in person. And he usually grills, and then there's usually drinks, and then I can ask all the questions while he's trying to pay attention to the game.
It's a thing.
It is. It's a thing. It's benefit. Like, why haven't I still figured out how football works? It's okay. I don't need anybody. I don't need any of the homies coming for me. It's okay.
Look, this DM her. You can tell a little touchdown, first down. She's getting a little bit of it, but
Touchdown. That's touchdown.
Not touchdown.
And I can't put it touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I just get
At least
excited.
you made the right. You did make the right. Yep, you did. You did. You did.
Okay.
You did.
All right. Just give me that. But other than that, will y'all be like first down, all of this, second down, flag on the I don't know. I'm like, what? Uh-huh. Okay, so but yeah, be patient with me. But I love the atmosphere. I will go to an NFL game. Jeffrey had me at my first NFL. Was that? Yeah, that was my first NFL game, and I think I'm hooked. I want to go to another.
That was fun. That was great. That was a couple years ago. That was great.
Yeah, I got some gentleman's number I never called, but
Well,
um,
he don't see this, and then the DMs go stuff. I did just invite the DM in.
do. Okay. It's like my little ditty to move on, like do do do. Okay. All right.
Well, you can't have me
So
coughing. I mean, you can't have me laughing too much. You know, I'll start coughing over here. I don't want to turn into Al Green. You know, see, another cultural moment. Al Green, not Al Green, not Al Green. Lou Rawls. Lou Rawls. I
oh
remember
my gosh.
my mom and them told me years ago that Lou Rawls got a coughing spell on
Oh,
national TV in the middle of his song.
oh. Mr. You'll Never Find?
Yes.
Oh man.
That's all right. I'll YouTube it to you.
Okay.
That's a whole thing. I saw it on Instagram, and it is a thing. Like, he tried to fight it off, too. It was bad.
Yes, please send that.
I got you.
Post it and just so we can all laugh together.
I got you.
Okay, so we wanted to talk about some stories where important truths that we were not taught in school. So what were some things that we like, can you think of off the top? Because I know we had kind of talked about in pre-production. We talked about how we didn't have you all know, like way back in the day, I did this segment called At the Playground. And I would do it like at the playground. You know? Playground.
Okay, another bad creation.
Yes. And it was always because I said this was the point where I'm able to hear those stories that I really wanted to hear on the playground, but because mental math was more important, we didn't have research. So then I also joke about that's why I still play at this big age. I play a lot. Everything is a joke almost. You know,
because we didn't have recess.
we didn't have recess.
3 years. That's crazy. I don't say the whole 3 years, but
Out of those 3 years, we can count on probably two hands how many times we went outside.
Yeah. Shout out to my elementary school teacher. I love me some her. She loves me too. And I know how to count your change in your pocket really fast because of her.
Percentages, at work when they be like, Ronnika knows she can do the math quick.
Correct.
Quick.
Yes.
Very random sidebar from that. I remember I was going to a church locally, and I went out to Indianapolis with a family, and I was tasked with bringing the two youngest grandsons home. They were probably maybe 8 to 10 years old, and for probably half of that ride was them throwing out numbers and using a calculator to see if I was right with mental math.
Oh, wow.
That was very entertaining for them. Them in the back. They were like, why do you know what 112 times 12 is? Like, why do you know? Don't do that shit now, but I was on it then.
Well, now the math is different now.
It's totally different. Y'all use it.
No 1 and adding 2 no more.
100 over here, you got 10 over here, and then you got the 2, and then you're breaking it down to 2. Yeah, okay. But yeah. So that's what I was taught in school. But what I wasn't taught in school is we didn't really talk about plantations. It wasn't in our school books either.
But that wasn't. I mean, you said what were we not taught about it in school, right?
Yeah, we weren't taught about plantations.
I remember. We did a play. We had a play, and I just threw this paperwork. I just threw this play away when I was cleaning out of storage over the summer. It was 1,000 Miles to Freedom was the name of the play, and we did it my 6th grade year at Boynton Montessori. I remember. It was like a whole thing. It was like they used all of the classes, and then they also did like a little musical with it. So maybe you was singing on that side, but they had some people that was actually acting. I know it sounds crazy, but we always in choir.
With Miss Wilder. Yes, yes.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, yes.
So we always in choir. But we did. I remember one play, 1,000 Miles to Freedom, because I only had like 2 lines in there. I remember because I had 2 lines.
Okay. Well,
but
maybe go ahead.
But I will agree with you. We didn't talk much about it.
No, and then I know one of the notes that I wrote down was that our first time visiting plantation, and it was so different for me living in the Midwest and then moving to the South for college that's a part of their curriculum is to go visit as elementary school students is to go to these plantations that are in their area. So if you think about like Durham, North Carolina has historic Stagville. Like that's a part of their curriculum. Kids are able to go and do tours, go inside of the big White House and go inside of the dwellings, and it's like, where is that around here? Like not saying that I really need to have it, but we didn't talk about it because it wasn't in our backyard.
It wasn't in our geography. Actually, I would love, and that's something for us to think about. I would love for someone who grew up with that curriculum to come and give, their perspective, because I look at it now as an adult and be like, well, it's important to know, but to go on a field trip as an elementary school teacher, as an elementary school kid, like that's a lot to throw up on a kid, especially the impact of slavery. Mm-hmm. But it also shows to you how the powers to be at the time felt as if it wasn't that much. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that impactful. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why they were like, well, this is part of your history, just as like if it was a school down the street.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a school down the street. They were actually skinning us.
Yeah.
Over there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a little bit different. And it's just like I learned the Belmont Stakes here, because people say, oh, in the South, it was only one thing, and in the North, well, Belmont Stakes, the horse race that they do, they do, you have Churchill Downs, you have the Kentucky Derby, you have the Belmont Stakes. Well, Belmont Stakes, the plantation owner, he had slaves. And what he did is he didn't put his hands on his slaves. What he'd do is he'd burn them at the stake. And that's how they came up with Belmont Stakes, because he would burn his slaves alive. You understand? Like when people say about, as we try to erase this little cultural history, and I don't want to say it disrespectful by saying little, but my history is important. And to say that you're going to wash it down because it's divisive, I don't think so. I think it's more divisive for you to say that you want to just wash it away. That's like saying that my grandmother's not who you say she is, because like you said,
yeah,
it's just like what you said. It was a lot of things that I learned about our history that I didn't learn in school, because the school taught me that Christopher Columbus found America. Well, my mama told me when I was 4 or 5 years old that wasn't true.
I was going to say,
so I always knew that wasn't the truth.
Our amazing teachers, I will say this, our amazing teachers at Boynton Montessori told me in the 1st or 2nd grade that story was a lie.
Yeah. And then you come back and be like, well, why? Well, they write the books.
Yeah.
That's important for you to read the book so you can be able to know the difference. That's what they told me growing up. You can hear the story, but you know the difference. But now they're trying to suppress the truth.
Yeah.
That's tough. That's tough.
I do want to say one more thing and shout out to, and I have no idea where she is. I don't even think she's on social media. If she is and someone knows, please tag her. I don't know if you had Loretta Powell at the high
I
school.
remember Pop. I remember Pop.
She was ahead of her time back then. One of the assignments that we had was that we had to oh my goodness, it was so many activities that she had us doing, but it was one that I will never forget. She had us linked together, and she said, "You're going to figure out how to get to freedom."
I do remember y'all was going through the schools. I
Oh
mean,
my god!
class, like, hey,
Yeah.
it was like it was a hands-on experience. I'm gonna pull back. I'm gonna mute, and I want you to explain to our viewers for real. It's great.
So there was a number of activities that Miss Powell would have us do. One of them she had, and this is another one I won't ever forget. She had um she had used tape on the floor of her classroom, and she said this is going to be the representation of one of the boats that the enslaved came over. We're like, okay. And then we're looking at each other, and then she said, I know what you're thinking. Somebody probably went to gym this morning and did not take a shower. I know I was. I was over here like, you want me to get in the boat? She said, you also have to remember that once you get in this boat, that most of you will not survive. We looking from left. What? What you mean? She said, you can be literally laying next to someone that's deceased.
Correct.
And she said, you all are worried about if someone smells a little bad after gym class. She had 30 kids stuffed in this taped boat that I thought, my God, this is what my ancestors went through. And it was black and white kids, and black, white, and actually a gentleman that was a part of this podcast. Um, Black, white, and Mexican were in that damn boat. So that was like one phase of like her curriculum was like out of this world. So then the next one she said, so as we continue to go through American history, she said, I'm gonna break you all into groups. I'm going to you're gonna be chain linked together, and you have to figure out what safe houses are and which ones are not. You're gonna go around the school, you're gonna look for the clues, and if you get captured, you get captured. We're like, what? What? Like, huh? I remember like Mr. Wolf being a part of it, Mr. Yoder, and it was like, did we apply what she taught us in order to run to freedom? We had to work together. It was like teamwork. It was a lot. It was like that was one of those assignments that changed my life. And then after that, like as we moved throughout the semester or the school year, the final project was that we had to work in a group to put together our own business plan. I came across that video maybe a year ago. It's just the audio, no video of us putting our plan together. We were at Tiana's house over there in Miami. It was around Halloween because I remember we took a break and we went.
Not my classmate.
Yes, we did. We took a break and we went trick or treating. We took our brother. We told him to put on a sheet. He was gonna be a ghost, and we were just gonna walk around. That was our break. But that was such a. I don't think I've ever been in a class experience like that. Like until I got to college, that was absolutely amazing. She was truly ahead of her time. We are only through the second section.
I told you this is gonna be. I knew it already. Like it was so much, but we haven't been. We've been around each other, but we haven't recorded in a while.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Okay.
my
Well, yeah.
God.
Yeah. Woo. All right. But
This little sidebar that was great, and I wasn't a fan. I wasn't.
I knew it. Yeah.
But I think that was one of the most impactful things that a non-fan could see. I'll put it that way. So here.
All right. So I really want to keep going. So can we go on to Culture Check? Or did you want to get okay. All right. So okay. Whew. Because it's also hot in here too. I'm trying listen. We see with everything going up, you have to be very, I guess, intentional about what necessities you gonna use. So I didn't turn my air all the way down. So now I'm over here like, ooh, I am a woman of a particular age. So I'm gonna just zoom right on into
here we go.
culture check. You know, when that awareness hits a little different. So I know that Jeffrey can probably tear this to smithereens. But will you? That's the real question. Will you? Because we're going to talk about moments where we've been, you became aware. So it's funny because I kind of talked about that in the last segment about becoming aware of being Black in America. Of course, I can think about being an intern at Whirlpool in the early 2000s and what that was like as a Black girl. But it was funny on this time. I was the only intern, and I know I've posted this picture before, but I'll definitely post it again in my stories, like when we launched this episode. Is that's how I that's how I unofficially got my first nickname of Ronnie, like outside of my family. Um, and I remember going home telling my dad, yeah, so there's a lady at work that is determined to call me Ronnie. He said, and she won't. Do you want her to call you Ronnie? I said, I don't. He said, your name is 3 syllables. 3. He said, their last name is probably 6. So, what you gonna do? I said, well, okay, well, I'm gonna be Ronnika because what she did not know is that that woman was in I was in the office next to the office that she was meeting in, and she asked the only Black gentleman that was working in the leadership at that time. She said, "Where's the little Black girl that works for us?"
You said that?
She didn't know I was in that office next to him.
That's crazy.
I remember Ray chewed that ass out. And then he came over and then he said, "Did you hear any of that?" I did. I did. I did. But that was my introduction to like, I'm a Black girl. I'm a Black girl in America. I have to outshine a little bit.
How old were you?
I was 17.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a
16 or
lot to grasp at 17 years old. You know what I'm saying?
17.
Especially when we're talking about, 17 or that period, you talking about integration, you're talking about, this is post Jesse Jackson and Rand, Bill Clinton has been the first Black president twice, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of things have changed, and then all of a sudden for her to come in and say, with a little Black girl, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I can, two things. One, I agree with you with the name. I was taught this long time ago. Long time ago. Shout out to Bernie Mac. But no, uh, long time ago, my mama told me, because I played sports growing up, and everybody wants to cut your name off. So, my first name is Jeffrey. And so everybody wants Jeff. And finally, I remember coming home for like the first practice or, the first year during practice, and my mama said, your name's not Jeff. Like, no, you're not going to, your name's not Jeff. I named you Jeffrey, which was at the time, I was like, damn. At least they my friends. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're thinking about as you're growing up. Because even as an adult who's in corporate America, they may not called you your name, but you was like, well, at least their camaraderie. When realistically, they're redefining you. And the crazy part about it is, That went on into college, where my professor, rest in peace, Dr. Wilson. Dr. Wilson told me this. He told the whole class. He said, hey, define yourself. Because if you don't define yourself, then you'll spend your whole lifetime trying to redefine yourself for others. So if you don't say what your name is, then they will guess. And I was a kid, ironically, when I was younger, shy, timid. Those are just some of the things that was said to me prior to being like 12 years old. Shy, timid, soft-spoken, don't really have much to say. Those are all the things that the adults would say. But over time, I remember saying, oh, my name is Jeffrey. And I would hear people say, Kevin. Oh, hey, Kevin. I remember like that happened like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, Jeffrey and Kevin are like totally different. Like, they didn't sound alike at all. So when that happened in conjunction with my mom telling me that, hey, your name is Jeffrey for a reason, I named you that. It made me be more assertive, enough to where typically if I do a political speech, I always start off, I am Jeffrey Booker. It's a routine. I've been doing it for years. It's just a routine. But that's a way of defining yourself before others. Because if they said my name was Kevin, then when I walked in, they were like, well, we looking for Kevin. Where's Kevin? Now it's like a whole conversation about somebody that don't even exist.
Yeah.
That's one. But when you talk about it from a social standpoint, because you mentioned as being 17, but my cultural awareness hit me when I was 12, 13 years old. And regardless of the names that's given, blah, 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 it is what it is because it's my experience. So when I was in 7th grade, I went to a magnet school in 7th grade, and I had an opportunity of being a part of, as they called, the Renaissance Review, the school newspaper.
Yes.
And I was one of the first people ever to be on the Renaissance Review as a 7th grader, because the unique thing is they only had 8th graders on the Renaissance Review. But because my mom had worked in corporate America, white collar, and she knew one of the teachers, she worked with the teacher's husband in the banking industry during a period of time. That gave a little bit of clout for me, but behind the scenes, she had been teaching me how to type ever since I was 3, 4 years old. I wanted to play on this little
Yeah.
I just wanted to play. Well, long story short, playing at 5, 6 years old led to being able to know how to type at 12. So I was able to get a part of the school newspaper. Did it all 7th grade. It was a great experience. 8th grade, I called it the cultural awareness awakening. As in, I knew about our culture. It was instilled in me from my grandmother to my mother, aunts, uncles. However, I had never seen it on film. Never seen it. It's something that we preached at church. It was something that was meditated about at home, but I had never seen it on film. It almost seems like as if it was, we know how we are, but we don't have to explain. Well, I had a chance to see Alex Haley LaRoots. They came out in 1976, but I saw it later in the 90s, in my social studies class. That social awareness just woke me up. As a kid whose frontal lobe had not fully developed, I didn't understand how these white teachers was like these black kids, and then you would see like some of the tones that were kind of similar to what was going on here. And like you said, they were having a conversation sometimes about kids when they weren't there, and because they thought you were a good kid, they would talk and say things that they would never. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's from that standpoint. Excuse me. So from that standpoint, that was kind of like my little cultural awareness, and I'll never forget it. Because it took us a week to watch Roots. Because, periods was 40, I class period 42 minutes. 42 minutes, you got to get out of there. Roots is forever. So I will never forget that I was at my computer. I guess they call it computer science now. But at the time, we just called it computer. You know, it wasn't as advanced as it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my computer science class, and I'll never forget the teacher who was also the advisor to the school newspaper came up to my computer. I'll never get off typing like this. She came up to the computer and said, I don't know what it is, but you've changed, and walked off. I said change. As a kid that was 13 years old, I was stunned. I was so stunned. I went home. And told my mom. As a kid, like she said that I've changed. And then my mother had to explain, as in, you understand culturally of the American experience. That don't mean that people are bad, but there are people that were before us that did bad things to other people. But that don't mean that they weigh the same way, because when you was working with them or volunteering with them, you never seen anything specifically towards you. I said, no, I haven't. She said, well, you have to give everybody the same grace, but know that there's potential that is out there for people that think that you shouldn't even be here. And so that was kind of like my little cultural awareness. I was 7th, 8th grade. And ever since then, I just moved differently. Like you can see it, and then as a person that plays sports, you see it differently. I can see it from the opposite side. When the white guy it's a white guy and it's a lot of black guys and we're playing basketball, the white guy, he feels a little bit intimidated. It's a cultural thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But every once in a while you have a white guy that's true. Man, I want him on my team because
white man can jump.
It's beyond that. Yeah. And I think for the non-whites, it's as in about collaboration versus one saying for the native. I don't even want to say natives because they weren't. But for the others, it's more or less as in, let's go back to our tribe. Well, during that period of time, you may have been in control, but remember, this is the great melting pot now. So everybody should have an opportunity. So, I want to get drunk, dive down that rabbit hole too far. But yeah, that was mine happened early. But you just see it. I've seen it. I had an opportunity, but mine was in white collar jobs, and you see it. Like I remember being 5, 6 years old, and my mother introduced the difference of race at her job with her coworkers, and I was around, because she wanted them to know that he's culturally aware of the difference, not as if, we're all in a colorless society, because that's nonsense.
And I know we've joked about this before, because I really haven't watched a whole lot of episodes of The Office, but it's one particular thing that you said, or that I think you've gotten, or you, from watching The Office, is I take your tragedy and match one, or one up, or something like that.
I take your situation and see your situation.
Yeah. Because when I think about my name, like, of course it was then, but as a little girl growing up, I've always talked like this. I've always been high pitched. I've always been very proper. But in the neighborhood, it was, this. I remember writing a whole blog post about it, is you sound white. You sound white. So that was different for me. And then also being in a, I would say, mixed cultural neighborhood was very eye-opening, because you think that no one sees color until something happens to someone's parents' car and they blame the black kids.
Come on. Yeah.
Because that was a conversation that I had with my dad. I said, I remember it was me. I don't know if Deshauna was a part of it, but I know Latia Lewis was one of them. Shout out to Latia. Shout out to my village, period. We were playing with the girls that lived on the street behind us. So, next street over. And we went over there to play one day. And, it was back in the day. So you weren't allowed to go in anybody's house. It was like, no, you play in the yard. We
Right.
just in the yard. Yeah, why do you need to go inside? What? That's what the hose is for. So, I remember going over there and she was saying, "Yeah, I can't play with you probably anymore. My dad said that you poured acid on our car."
What?
I was like, I didn't pour anything on a car, but I don't even know what acid does to a car. So I remember immediately going home and telling my dad, he said, "Don't you take your ass over there anymore. We've just identified a racist." I said, "Oh.
No. How you gonna pick me out of all the people?
He said, "Do not." And then he went over there, said his piece, and then said, "Oh, that friendship is over. We're done." Okay. All right. But I still don't know what acid does. He said it will tear up a car. You didn't know that. But
Right.
he just
So
automatically profiled you
what you doing as a kid with acid? Like, come on now.
as a 9-year-old, 9, 10-year-old. What? I wonder if Tia even remembers that. But yeah, it was like early on in the neighborhood. Those were, or when we had to call the police on the neighbors because they let their dog out on me for me just riding around the block.
They tired of seeing you ride.
They tired of seeing me in my little pink.
They want to see how fast you can pedal.
Yes, yes. My mom and dad called that police so quick. No, no. This is what we're doing.
Look,
We're
I was
calling
just when we were just talking about names, and I'm gonna squash it after this, but I was hanging out during COVID, during that little era. So this is 2021, 22, 20. This was 1920. This is in 2019, 2020.
Okay.
And one of my friends came over, he introduced himself, and he said his name was Steve. And one of my friends that was there, white guy, the guy that said his name was Steve, black guy, he said to my other friend who's a white guy, he said, "Oh, my name's Steve." My white friend said, "I'll never remember that. I'm going to call you Steven." I said, "No, no, no, you're not." He just turned and looked at me. I said, "No, that's a cultural thing. You're not going to redefine me by name. Plus, you don't even know if that's a trigger for him.
Yeah.
He just don't give a damn. You know what I'm saying? It was more about you, and you decided to make it comfortable for you than for his own name. Study. Yeah, that can happen. So I understand with the Ronnika, when they call you the little black girl named Ronnie.
I want to call you Ronnie.
Yeah, that's extreme.
My
It's
dad's
pretty
name
extreme.
Ronnie. And specifically, I remember Artesia's mom calling me Ronnie girl because she was like, her thing was, "You look just like your dad." But that was for her. Like, we had already had that. That's what she calls me. I don't go anywhere else, and that's what. And then
Right.
it's funny because yesterday I even said to someone, I said, I'm able to identify when I met someone by the nickname that they call me, that I've allowed you to call me. Because one guy was like, "Man, they didn't call you Jizzle." I was like, that was a period in my life that I'm not there anymore. So I welcome you saying it because we can, silently joke about it. But no one else can just walk up to me and be like, "What's up, Jizzle?" I don't know what that is. Okay.
Yeah. I've known you a pretty long time. I never thought to call you just.
That was, our Jizzle for shizzle, my nizzle. That's what it was.
Oh,
But after
okay.
you left, they started calling me our Jizzle.
Oh, wow. All right, Snoop.
Snoop with no weed. But
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at least you're breathing. At least you're breathing.
okay. All right. So I'm gonna push us on to the, let's see. Let's dive into these foolishness files.
Okay.
The audacity of the unaware.
Got the audacity.
Are you ready? The example is hilarious, and I should probably get my life together after this one. But we're going to share a funny or wild story about someone who showed their ignorance about Black culture. Jeez.
Not laughing.
We are making room, we're making space for humor and healing while also checking folks with love and laughter, which I love to do. I'm here for it all the time. But can you think of a funny? I mean, not can you think, because I'm sure you have multiple. I've been out with you. I've seen you check people. Oh, mm. Almost brought up
Hold on. What you talking about?
between you and my sister in DC. I was like, was like, what's happening? I didn't know who was gonna jump on that girl first, you or her. I didn't know what was gonna happen at the restaurant when we were trying to get our bags. Happy hour. It was a wild. Okay,
First day.
no, the last day.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's always situations like this. So
It was happy hour, by the way. That was like a
oh,
whole
brunch.
lunch.
That was
Lunch. That was breakfast, lunch, and early dinner. Like we were there way too long. Okay, we patronized the patronizers. All right.
we were only supposed to be there for 2 hours. That's that.
We was there like four and a half or so.
Just
That
for
was
our
fun.
flight to be canceled, but whatever.
Yeah, terrible comeback. Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, it was what a day. What a day. What a day. But no, that's not my story I want to share. But I know that there is plenty. But someone who showed their ignorance about Black culture. Oh man, I got a few. Oh, I got a few.
You sharing? Or you got so many that you don't? Because I would have to go back. I mean, and what I mean by you have people that are unaware, but I'm such uh, a student teacher that we're gonna walk through this together. You're gonna learn today.
Okay.
You're gonna learn today because we can't just assume. Because if I did that to you, that wouldn't be fair to you. But I'll let you go. You go ahead, give me that good story so I can laugh.
I don't know if it's funny. I don't think it's funny. Yeah. Wild. Because I'm like, I can go for the wild, but it might not be funny. I think I'm gonna use, and I might have used it before because I just think it's just so wild. I was actually a docent, and that means that I was a tour guide for
You gotta put that in slow down for the rest of us. Come on
tour
now.
guide. I was providing historical tours at a plantation in North Carolina. That was my internship, and I remember. So we would always so the tours always started at the top of the hour. So if anyone came in after that, it was very hard for us to like, oh yeah, we can't. If you came in, say at 11:30, well, the next tour starts at 12. Are you willing to wait those 30 minutes? Like take a tour of the facility, just the grounds right now before we go out to the big house and to the barn and the slave dwellings. So someone comes in, we hear the little doorbell, someone's coming in. I'm like, so we rock, paper, scissors. Who's next to do a tour? So I went, gave my tour. We were probably we went through the I'm gonna say the main house on the hill, because if you're down in the near the barn and the dwellings, you can look up. If it's clear outside, you can see the White House from those dwellings. We get down there, we go through the house, and then you actually have to get in your car and drive down to the dwellings. There is no walking from there. And we get there, and one of the guys asks, "Man, these houses are pretty nice shape. So would you say that he was a nice slave owner?" When I say it was a big group, I was like, this is one day I should not have lost rock, paper, scissors. One more time. He said, "Yeah, I mean, it just seems like you were saying that he brought doctors out there if the slaves were sick." I said, "Enslaved." He said, "Okay, enslaved were sick." So, I mean, that would just kind of seem that, he was he was one of the nicer slave owners. I said, "That's called protecting your investment." They were still people and they were owned.
They were cattle.
Yeah.
3/5.
They
They were
weren't even
property.
people.
You want to make sure that your house
Owned
is
them.
just like somebody remodel their house now. They want to
Yeah,
make sure the value don't
that's it.
depreciate.
That's
That's it.
it. They're
That's
looking
it.
for that ROI. Like, sir, no.
Correct.
So then we traveled down to the barn, which was built in 1860. No blueprint. They know that these enslaved people that built this barn were from the coast of Africa and were also boat builders because the top of the roof of the barn looks like an upside down boat.
Oh wow. Wow.
Again, no blueprint. Still standing. Been tornadoes, hurricane, everything untouched.
Look, and a little sidebar too on that is those individuals that was enslaved didn't mean that they spoke the same language. They
Oh,
still was able to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, we go. Yeah, look, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
bruh. Bruh.
Whole thing.
And I told Jennifer this story, my sister, not too long ago. I said, I went through that whole tour, girl. I talked about the barn and he ended up apologizing. But there was a wolf spider on one of the barn doors. And I said, "Oh, okay, I just appreciate you all coming out. We're gonna head back up to the unless you want to, go home, we can head back up to the main office. But you right there, you've been so great today. I need you to close that door. Nothing but wolf spiders. When I say if you don't know what a wolf spider is, Google it. I'm not going to because I don't need it in my feed or in my mind before I go to bed. So there were multiple wolf spiders on the store that he had to close after asking me if the Benahins were good slave owners.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. But the realization of it is this: I prefer for that.
No, yes, no, yeah. I don't want to get. I don't want to get.
Prefer for you to ask questions because then we can have a conversation about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to be pigeonholed and feel like you can't say what you need to say because you're scared to say.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And a great example, as in I give you my story, is I love to see white people go to black churches for the first time. It is the epitome of black culture here in America. I would say pre-2000, because you hear over the last 25 years, of the connection with the church. But I would say from 1619 to 2000, black people in the church was tight, right?
Like a grip.
Like a grip. Every Sunday, I grew up in the church. I went to church every Sunday. So that's how it was. And so if you get a chance, and come on now with the tambourine, if you get a chance, you just in growing up, you see somebody start dating somebody that's a black person, a white female or a white male, and all of a sudden they invited to church, and it is a cultural revolution. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shout out to Pastor Oberholster, rest in peace. But he was one of the Mercedes is actually his daughter. He shout out to Mercedes and the family. But he was my pastor's son-in-law, and he made a transition. He made a transition just from being a son-in-law to actually becoming a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember watching Paul Oberholster. I couldn't remember his first name at the beginning, but I remember seeing Mr. Oberholster. He would get up in that pulpit and say, "You know what? My heart is happy," and he's just going to move with the music, as in the same thing of what the Bible says. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was one of those things that, that the spirit was beyond our separation when it came to our skin tones. But just seeing, the different white people that come, into black culture. You already know the second person that came up is used to work with my mom at the courthouse. And it's crazy because we just was texting each other 2 weeks ago because we was both in the DC area. Both was in the DC area, but I remember she came to Miss Tracy's funeral and explained from her cultural standpoint that cancer was a bitch. You understand? But from our standpoint, we in church at a funeral. We don't use that type of language.
That was
and so, but I just remember like, what? It was like one of those type of moments.
I was in the first lady section. Don't know how I got there, but I was in the first lady section. There, woo! I said, "You guys are making it worse."
Not y'all making it worse.
Let's just keep rolling. You're making it worse.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. But I like that. I like that. Or I work with Carla Sanford. That's another one. Shout out to Carla. We had an opportunity from 2007 to 2011 to talk about things from a different perspective, as in her daughter and I was a year apart. So she was a generation above me. However, she had questions. And being, we're young. I was in my 20s at the time. So it was just like, I got answers. You know what I'm saying? Because finally someone... Because from our standpoint, someone is willing to listen versus just assuming and then telling us to follow what they say.
Yeah.
So, yep.
That was a good one. Okay. So we're going to float on by to Rapid Fire. Rapid Fire is my favorite. I don't know if y'all know or if y'all can tell. Rapid Fire is definitely my favorite.
Okay, Miss Rapid Fire.
Like the fire emoji. All right. Or is it the lightning bolt? It doesn't matter. Anywho, do you want to start it or?
You asked the question. You asked the first question. I answer, and then I asked the second. How many? We got 4 questions.
We got 4. Yeah.
All
right. What's a black tradition you didn't appreciate until adulthood?
Cookouts, and actually, it's a transition because we used to just call them picnics. But once you get culturally aware and understanding your culture, picnic is what they used to call the young women pickaninnies. You understand what I'm saying? So we don't do picnics anymore. So anybody that's listening from a cultural standpoint, we don't do picnics anymore. PSA. Black people don't do picnics anymore. It is a cookout. The reason why I didn't like cookouts as a kid, because one, I was the only kid. It gave me an opportunity to see my cousins and things of that nature, but it just meant that you had to do a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're a kid, you got to go do this. I got to do this for auntie I don't see that often. Like, come on now. As a kid. But when I got into like middle school, high school, my cousin and I, shout out to Rob, we used to call them Fiesta Fitascas. And obviously that's not a word or anything, but typically, a black get together can get real loud enough that you may think that it's about to blow. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're like in that in between middle school, junior high, high school, you ain't trying to get at. You understand what I'm saying? Because you don't understand that that's love in the room. You think that they back and forth, they may really fight. No, that's love in the room. And if they do really start putting their hands on each other, they need to separate.
Yeah.
But why I appreciate it now is, one, I don't live close to a lot of my family. And then just to see the look on my family face. Ever since I started the whole transition, probably almost 20 years ago, of not living around my family on a full-time basis, of seeing them see me, and then now see me see them. It's next level. It is next level. And so I didn't have an appreciation for it at all as a kid. But now as an adult, oh, hell yeah. I'll go barbecue. I went to Indiana to barbecue. back-to-back years, and I don't even really mess with Indiana like that. But my family's there, and so I'll always go to India.
Mm. Okay. So you gotta ask me a question.
1 second, I lost my back. I had to go back to it. All right.
Okay.
What's your one cultural moment you wish you experienced in real time?
Especially after watching this one documentary that was like, oh my God, that has nothing on what I wanted to experience. I kind of wanted to experience Freaknik.
Wow. Yo.
I kind of wanted to.
Like, that is crazy. But I'm with you. I look, you know, if it would have been our era, we both would have been down there together, filming.
Yeah, we would have been there. I just told Jennifer I hope she's in none of the videos because I feel like.
Yeah, I forgot she lived in Georgia. She lived in Georgia. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the only thing. I think that was also the big push to me wanting to go to Spelman. I was like, I got to get down there with all the culture. The culture's in Georgia. That's what I always saw. That's what I felt like growing up. Like, oh man, the culture is there.
I just felt like the culture was in the South. And
Yeah.
I felt that once I got into band.
Mm-hmm.
Band, like 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, all of a sudden, it was like, you want to be at 8, go to HBCU. So that's kind of like, if somebody asked me, I knew that there were black colleges, but it finally resonated and made sense to me in 9th grade that there were HBCUs. I didn't know that 7th grade. You knew that there was
Watch a different world.
Well, I mean, you knew, but you didn't know. Like,
Like there's more.
Different World. I mean, when we watched A Different World as kids, we didn't know what was going on. You didn't watch A Different World years later and got a concept. But I just thought they were going to school.
Oh no!
Like, I didn't really even pay attention that there really wasn't that many white people at their school, because even in the first season, there was a white female that was a part of the cast.
Don't start because I'm clear. I can never get enough of A Different World. Let's just put that out there. I think it's right on. I mean, if I was to turn on my TV, go to Netflix, it's right there. It's the first thing I'm going to watch. Wow. So I want people to also know about me is that during that time is that we had an older brother that was going to school in Virginia. So in my mind, I automatically thought like, oh my God, he's living the Hillman experience. Like, this is it. He's living. We're going to be doing the same thing. Boy, did that jack us up, but that's another story for another day. But I kept thinking like, okay, he's going to a school in Virginia. Hillman is based in Virginia, right outside of Richmond. I knew that he was going to a school right outside of Richmond. So I was like, oh my God, he's going to Hillman.
He literally go down the street or go to the school. Wow. That's the joys of having an older sibling.
It is.
You knew what college was about before going to college.
Yeah.
Shit, I was the first person in my family to go off to college in 30 years. When I mean by go off, as in did not go to the local community college. So,
yeah.
That's one of those things where I guess we would go backwards, as in I had to explain to our old boss where he was like, well, I just don't understand why these kids don't understand the importance of graduating from high school. And I had to explain to him, I said, because your great grandfather graduated from college. And ain't nobody ever graduated from college in their whole family. Mm-hmm. And how do I know that? Because I was the first in this one. You understand what I'm saying? And and you're 40 years older than me. And I said, your grandfather. So that means 80 years ago, somebody graduated from college. So y'all got like an 80 to a 90 year, maybe 100 year jump on me, when it comes to our family. So, yeah.
Okay. Which black figure should have their own biopic already?
It's easy. Actually, I got a chance to see probably one of the worst documentaries I've seen in a long time on Apple TV. So Apple, you should sponsor us so we can help you. But they did this documentary on Samuel L. Jackson. And it was good to know, like, to see his transition. but we definitely need a real deal from beginning to end about Samuel L. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up Samuel L. Jackson, like 76 years old now.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Yeah, I didn't know that. I don't know. If for everybody else, I don't know if you knew, but I didn't know he was 70.
Because, I randomly go down rabbit holes and I be on them Wikipedia pages and Google and all that. Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm.
But he didn't really become an actor into that level until like mid-30s, and then we talk about his addiction, along the way, and then how his daughter and his wife found him and changed his life. You know what I'm saying? And then looking at the many people that he's played on screen, I learned he has a stuttering problem. Didn't know that. Has a stuttering problem, but what he do is the way that he prevents himself from stuttering during the actual filming is he turns into the person that he's actually portraying. And of course that person doesn't stutter, so he doesn't stutter. That's mindful. You know what I mean? So I really like Samuel L. Jackson. He's been in, so many of the
America.
Spike Lee joints. Coming to America is its own class.
I mean, hello.
But to see him and Halle Berry play crackheads, you know that they were in the beginning. They were in the beginning of their career.
Because was he detoxing then or something?
He was detoxing. He said he took that. I just watched the documentary 2 days ago. Okay. And he was like, he begged Spike while he was in rehab for him to get the part, and they were like, I don't know, because you're going to be crackhead, you're going to be around the paraphernalia, that's not going to be beneficial for you. And obviously, the work speaks for itself. Yeah. I think he got like, whew. Yeah. I don't want to go into the awards, but yeah. I like Samuel, and we didn't even mention Shaft. You know what I'm saying? Like he's been in the Marvels. He's a Marvel character. So yeah. That Art of Inventions. Yeah. I really like him. I really do. Yep. All right. So the last. All right. And then the last question: what's one thing you wish more people knew about Black culture? I wish, and this was a beautiful thing that started to be implemented when I worked there, is that I want us to be more intentional of visiting these spaces, places that are intentional about holding on to our history, telling our history accurately. Because I even think about the African American Museum in DC, the Black Wax Museum in Baltimore. Not telling the story of the slave owner, telling the stories of the enslaved. That's what I wish people knew more about. Because even when I throw out references or I throw out jokes, I'm like, a lot of the stuff is rooted in what our ancestors went through. A lot of it. When I worked, we're not that far. No, we're not. Like 160 years. We're not that far. Slavery was 160 years ago. That's it. When I look through my own family history, I'm like, gosh, my great-granddad was born in 1885. My great-great was born in 1865. The great-great-great was born during the Nat Turner Rebellion in Virginia? Oh, okay. I wish we knew more about our own history. I agree. All of us. Even when we were just going through the African American Museum and it talks about, what was it, over 60% of our people came through like South Carolina. You know what I'm saying? And just even understanding the numbers that just over 375,000 enslaved Africans came to America. There may have been between 6 and 10 million stolen from Africa, but we're spread all up through the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. And then me learning that my people, just from the percentages, the majority of my people, they came from Louisiana, which that's less than 6% of the Louisiana. So it's a lot to learn. And I would challenge anyone to fall down that rabbit hole. We do fall down rabbit holes all the time on Instagram.
All the time. And I'm glad you said that.
Or TikTok.
Oh, I don't want to talk about it. Shout out to the heartbeats, the ones that are addicted. You know who you are. But I want to encourage all of you to research, share, and actually reflect, even talk to us. I mean, slide in our DMs, get in those comments. When you talk about like a lesser known story in Black History this month, we want to hear from you. I feel like maybe we should just start introducing maybe voice notes too. Having people, like, if they want to send in like a little audio clip, we listen to it and we're able to play it during the episode. So let's put that out there. I mean, the email, if you want to do that, or if you want to slide in DMs and do it that way too. I am Ronnika Williams on Facebook, and I'm Ronnika RONNIKA .Williams on Instagram. But our we do have an email that you can send stuff to, which is please do tell podcast@gmail.com. So if you want to send in like a little voice note, or if you want to send a little blurb, like a little note, tell us how you enjoyed this episode. And then if you want to include something, it could possibly be in the next episode. Do you have anything before we wrap this thing up?
To be honest with you, I'm fulfilled. I didn't feel well coming into it, but boy, look, as you can see, I would go black. I had to go blow my nose real quick. Go back real quick, but I wasn't gone long. Because I really appreciate this conversation, because I don't think it's just for, it's for our viewers. And it's for our viewers, no matter what walk of life, whether you're 90 or you're 10. Well, maybe not too much for the 10. Thank you over there, Coop, for telling me.
I know, I'm just like
the 10-year-olds, but for the at least 18 and up. But this is a cultural rich conversation.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Black August, and I'm very appreciative to it. But what I will do is I'll give mine a little signage too. If you want to DM Jeffrey Booker, JEFFREY Booker, BOOKER, that you can find me on Facebook, or you can find me in Mr. Fantastic World's MR Fantastic FANTASTIC World on Instagram. Again, Mr. Fantastic World on Instagram.
I just can't believe how that handle has just stuck.
I think I've had that handle. That's my first and only.
Like that's the only one you've never changed. I feel like I've went through a few, and you have held on to that one.
Look, I've been in I remember I was in college. I don't know anything about Marvel, and please don't stone me, viewers, if I mention the Fantastic with Marvel and he's not, because I don't know. But I know y'all will inform me. But I remember I had a Mr. Fantastic shirt that I got in college that I still have to this day, and it just stuck. It just stuck from college. Yeah.
Wild times, I tell you, wild times.
Yeah, wild times, Mr. Fantastic.
So we want you all to, if you haven't told a homie, to tell a homie to tell a homie, to subscribe and follow us and engage with us, especially on wherever you listen to podcasts. I know some of you are probably watching this on YouTube, but we're also you're able to listen to it on your cellular device, on your iPad. You're able to listen to it on your tablet. You're able to listen to us wherever you are. You're even able to watch us on YouTube. So, and then if you're looking for us, we're hashtag please do tell, because that's the name of this podcast, love. But we're excited about the next episode that's coming up, because we're going to be talking about love letters to the culture.
Ooh. Now I got to get my pen and paper out.
I mean, that's what Aaliyah said. So,
was that her song, or was it the Isaac Brothers?
4-page letter.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Get it started.
Are you?
All right, y'all. Until next time, I'm your homegirl, Ronnika, and I'm with
Jeffrey. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple today so I don't cough on y'all.
And this is the Please Do Tell podcast. We'll see you next time. Holla!